Okay guys, so in today's video we're going to talk about American Airlines stock. So this stock is very actively traded after Warren Buffett announced to the world that he sold off all his positions in airline stocks, including American Airlines, guys. So I just wanted to talk a bit about where I think this stock is going. I think that this is a very dangerous situation. So I actually posted a video a couple days back earlier on my channel about how I think the stock can fall to $1, and I just want to post some even crazier news, even though it seems like after Buffett kind of announced that news, a lot of people have been thinking that there's a long-term investment opportunity here. And I just want to show you the guys this really good article that I found on Investor Plates that kind of really explains the severity of the situation. So it says American Airlines is in trouble. Stay away from American Airlines stock. So guys, I also mentioned the quarter, how they lost $2.2 billion, and that was just the beginning of Q1, since a lot of the whole coronavirus situation happened basically in March, so they still had a decent January and most of February where people were still flying. So guys, in quarter two, of course, traffic was down almost 90% or higher for most airlines. And the problem with American Airlines is simply their cash flow. So the company burnt through over $1 billion in free cash flow losses during Q1, but this will get a lot worse in Q2. So in April, they said they were burning through about 70 million a day, and that they wanted to get that number down to about 50 million by June. So that means, right now, still in May, they're still going through about $70 million a day. And I just don't understand how American can even stay afloat with these type of ridiculous losses. And I think it's pretty crazy to assume that people all of a sudden are going to start flying again. People need money to fly, and with dealing with the U.S. recession and everything, a lot of people have put their summer vacations on hold, and they've just put a lot of plans off. So it's not like all of a sudden when things open back up that airline traffic is going to go right back to where it was in 2019. That's just not the case. So as we can see here, one of the bigger problems with American Airlines is simply their liquidity. So they really just can't afford to keep burning through cash like this. I know some of the other stocks out there like United Airlines and Delta and Southwest, they're a little bit stronger, but American Airlines has the worst balance sheet out of all of them. So if you take a look at some of these numbers, it basically talks about how, it says, will $11 billion be enough debt to get through the cash flow losses expected from Q2 all the way to the end of the year? And then also, they're dealing with a cash burn of 6.3 billion less 3.57 billion. So that's the cash they have available on hand. So what are they supposed to do? Obviously they could either borrow more money, which is probably what they're going to have to do, but they're already sitting on around $25 billion in short-term and long-term debt, and they even have a 6.1 billion pension liability on their balance sheet. So guys, I also mentioned that this stock was dealing with also negative book value, and as of March 31st, it says the book value was negative $2.6 billion, which works out to about negative $6.23 per share. And if the company were to post another 11 billion in losses, that means that the stock value would be negative $32 uh, book value per share. Which is pretty crazy, and it's probably the first time in a long time I've seen an actual very popular stock trading at such a negative book value. So as of recording this video right now, let's take a look at some of the numbers, because the stock has lost a lot of money after Buffett announced to the world that he was selling off his position. Okay, so we're on Yahoo Finance right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about the severity of the situation when it comes to American Airlines stock. So first, I want to talk a little bit more about that negative book value per share. So as you can see here, if we just you can find all this information on Yahoo Finance and just type in the ticker symbol AAL. So we go down here to the balance sheet. We see that the book value per share is negative. So this has obviously been adjusted for the recent quarter, and this number will get worse as the company has to continue to take on more debt and things like that. And right now, the total cash balance as of the last quarter was 3.58 billion, and now they're sitting over $34 billion in debt. So if we actually take a look at the balance sheet itself, Okay, so now we're taking a look at the latest balance sheet that was provided on the latest Q1 earnings release. As we can see here, basically the company is holding basically around 3.5 billion in cash and short-term investments. And now if we take a look and we go down to some of that long-term debt, we see that you know, we have long-term and non-current liabilities is around $42 billion. So, guys, this is what the cash burn problem is. So all of these current liabilities, this is contributing to that massive daily cash burn where the company's burning through between 50 to 70 million dollars a day, and then they still have around 42 billion and longer term debt obligations, including a ridiculous $6 billion pension and post retirement benefits. Um, you know uh, liabilities. So, this company is just absolutely overwhelmed, and it really makes sense why Buffett would sell his stake. It just seems like there's a lot more upside. If you look at some of those stocks, I posted a video on the 10 recession-proof stocks to buy right now. You guys check that video out if you're looking for some from better options. But I think the biggest reason here is just simply opportunity costs. I mean, how much money can American Airlines really generate with too many planes, not enough passengers, and a ton of debt? It just doesn't seem like a lot of upside. And I know a lot of people are thinking that they can buy the stock cheap and things like that, but the situation I think is a lot worse than people are letting on. We don't, in fact, know how travel will have changed, but I think this is another event like 9/11 where this is like a permanent change. I don't think things will ever be the same. And I think people are going to be very, very careful about how they travel in the future, especially on airlines. And we don't know what type of measures that you know uh, air traffic security is going to take, and whether there's going to be more background checks to get on planes, health examinations. It's just a big mess. It's not going to be like it was before. So I think owning American Airlines stock is really, really risky, and I think that's why Buffett sold it. Buffett really doesn't like investing in businesses he doesn't understand, and no one has a crystal ball. No one knows exactly how this is going to pan out. Is Your guess is as good as mine. So for me, this stock is a major sell. It even has negative retained earnings, stockholders deficit. It's just a big mess here. This is probably one of the worst balance sheets I've seen in a long time, and I'm still curious as to why people are buying up the stock. They think it's a long-term buy, but for me, this is definitely a stay away. So I just want to kind of finish off the article, and it also talks a little bit about how the company can definitely maybe file for bankruptcy as well, and perhaps be under Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So as it wraps things up, it says Warren Buffett just announced he sold all of his stake. He said admitted he made a mistake by investing in these companies. He gave two major reasons. One is the company may end up with too many airplanes if consumers don't return quickly to airline travel. The second reason is that the companies need to increase their debt considerably, hurting future earnings as they pay it off. Buffett hates companies with lots of debt. That's exactly where American Airlines will be by the end of this quarter. He's willing to take a loss over 1.5 billion in his holdings. What does that tell you? He wanted to preserve his capital. Buffett likely estimates that the valuation of these companies will be significantly lower after he sold them. Yeah, so this for me is a big danger stock, and it's one of the most actively traded ones. So, for some of you guys out there, if you think that you can find some long-term value, I would say be very careful with this stock. Use stop losses and trailing stops, because I think this stock could head a lot lower. We remember now, quarter two hasn't even posted yet, and it's going to be absolutely terrible. And I expect a lot of people to dump the stock when kind of reality sets in and they realize that this company has a long way to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed my content, and smash that subscribe button as well to get more updates. I post videos on the stock market every day, so be sure to tune in for more free videos on American Airlines and other airline stocks. That's it for now, guys. Take care.